Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's John. Today is day 43 of my 2-month Fasted-Thenics challenge. Let me start with the numbers as usual. 182.1 pounds on the scale today. Blood pressure was 112/73. Blood glucose 76 milligrams per deciliter and ketones 5.7 millimoles per liter. So to compare the weights, day one I was 214.8 pounds. Today 182.1 for a total loss of 32.7 pounds in 43 days. So the average loss at this point is a little bit shy of 5 pounds per week. Per day it breaks down to 7/10 of a pound of weight. One half of a pound is fat and 1/5 of a pound is in muscle. There is more water composition in muscle than there is in fat, so when I begin to eat carbs after the challenge is over, I should see a pretty significant jump in muscle mass there at the beginning as far as my body composition scale here at the house. I do plan on day 60, I've got an annual physical scheduled where I'm going to be having blood taken for lab work, and I plan to drive off and go and get a legit body composition reading. So let's see. So why would someone do something like this? 2 months without food seems a bit drastic. So last year, the primary reason for attempting it, one, it's just a difficult challenge, but that's really not the reason. I don't think I would have considered doing it if it weren't for poor blood pressure over a number of years and doing things along the way to try and fix that and not being able to do it. The other one was blood sugar. Both of those are indicators for just bad health in later years. So I wanted to fix that without medication. And I know this was kind of drastic, but I was relatively healthy outside of just numbers for my annual physicals and things like that. So I decided to try it, and I did. I had lab work done the day before I began, and I intended to go 50 days. I ended up going a little bit longer than that, but so on day 25 I had lab work scheduled, and then on day 50 I had an annual physical scheduled as well. Not to mention the 5K. So basically, this time around, so let me step back just for a second. So it was blood pressure and it was blood sugar. Those were the primary reasons. Now, I didn't necessarily go about it the way I would go about it now, having gone through that experience. So, day 25, I found out electrolytes dropped significantly. I needed to start consuming an electrolyte supplement and some bone broth, which also has electrolytes in it as well. So I started doing that, and those numbers fixed by the end of the fast. So not only was I not eating anything, but I was only consuming water for the first 4 weeks. And then from that point to the end, just an electrolyte supplement and bone broth. And by the end of that, my electrolytes were within normal ranges, and my HSCRP number, which had kind of ramped up during that first 4 weeks, it had come down. It wasn't quite in the normal range, but it was close. So both of those things, taking in the bone broth and taking in the electrolyte supplement, resolved that. But the final lab work kind of revealed some other issues, which I'm trying to address in this fast. I don't intend to do these long fasts repetitively, through the end of my life. What I intend to do is try and implement 5 or 7 day fasts more regularly in my life. I'd like to think that I could handle doing a 7-day fast once a month for the most part, having high carb weeks maybe twice a year, just 1 week where I'm, basically a cheat week. The rest of the time trying to eat primarily low carb or keto, probably keto, and then maybe a single cheat meal maybe once a month. So within 1 week of fasting, 3 weeks of eating keto, and then out of those 3 weeks, pick one day where I can go out with my wife and enjoy a decent meal. And most of the time, I'm going to eat something that is at least low carb. I'm going to stay away from the high carb foods and stay away from the desserts and things like that, and limit those to just like a cheat week, which I'll do most likely just twice a year, maybe 3 times. I don't know. I'm trying to correlate it with holidays and where birthdays and things fall, within the year and that kind of thing. And it's kind of a difficult challenge to make it work exactly right, but I'll come up with something. So what I'm trying to do with this fast, I know I'm fixing my blood pressure and my blood sugar. And as long as I continue doing some minimal exercise outside of these long fasts, the blood pressure stays intact, and so does the blood sugar. So the things that don't, one, testosterone dropped quite a bit. So this time around, I'm consuming a lot more protein, and I'm implementing a calisthenic workout 4 times a day. So I'm drinking basically 4 cups of bone broth, which has about 7 grams of protein per cup, and then also 4 cups of a protein shake. And that, I can't remember the exact protein count on that, but a 0 carb on that. So basically, 4 times a day, I am doing a set of calisthenic workouts. Not a lot. I'll run through them real quick. So 15 push-ups, 2 pull-ups, 25 crunches, 10 lunges, 10 squats. I am hanging from the bar for 30 seconds each workout session, and then dips. I'm doing 10 dips. So I do that, and then I come down and I consume 1 cup of the protein shake and 1 cup of the bone broth. So I'm hoping, one, to at least maintain more muscle mass. I lost a lot last time. My arms were ridiculously thin. So this time I'm trying to maintain the muscle mass while on the fast, and hoping that it bounces back quicker than it did last time. And then 2, I'm consuming 2 raw eggs in the protein shake. So in the Vitamix, I'm putting 2 scoops of Isopure protein powder. It's 0 carb. It has, I can't remember. I should have looked that up. I apologize. But so basically the 2 scoops of the protein powder, 2 eggs, 2 cups of almond coconut milk that's unsweetened, and then 2 cups of water. I blend that, put it in a pitcher, and I consume 1 cup after each workout session. I also consume 1 cup of the protein, or the bone broths, sorry. So basically 2 cups after each workout session, and I do that 4 times a day. So the total of the protein is somewhere between 80 and 90 grams total. That is all going well. I can't wait to see the lab work from day 60 and be able to see if I was able to bring up my testosterone levels during this, because going out without food for that long, and without cholesterol and without protein for like a month last summer, it really wreaked havoc on those 2 things: 1, muscle mass, and 2, testosterone levels. I didn't anticipate the testosterone. I knew it was low, but I didn't realize it would go even further. So I plan to do a little more research on that after this fast is up. It's just busy times right now, trying to get a video posted to log each of these days all the way up to day 64. But I'm hoping that this resolves it, and I can easily do something like this for 1 week at a time, once a month. I'm finding it right now extremely easy. The most difficult part is working the workout sessions into my day without forgetting about them or leaving them all the way to the end, and then also getting the videos posted is also a challenge for me, because it's not something I'm used to doing. But as far as going without food, drinking the protein shake, goodness, I just started banana cream from them with the protein powder. It is really delicious. So that part is really helping out a lot. The bone broth that I'm consuming, it's delicious as well. I remember last summer, I went almost the entire month of June with just water. So when I started consuming the bone broth, that first cup, my salivary glands were just gushing with saliva, just anticipation. And then when it hit my tongue, I just like, goodness, the sensation of the flavor of just something like that was tremendous. So I can't wait till day 64 this time around to taste something as delicious as that kind of Portuguese style donut that they serve from Leonard's Bakery there in Honolulu. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I don't want people thinking I'm just like randomly doing something like this and that I haven't tried anything like this before. There were baby steps along the way that led me to what I did last year. And I went 61 and a half days, no real ill effects by the end of it. My electrolytes dropped, and then I resolved that during the second half of the fast. This time around, it's really extremely easy. I'm going to try not to come to any conclusions based on the data. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a researcher by trade, and I don't do this for a living. So I'm kind of consuming a lot of content in the direction of health and longevity, and I follow people that I find that aggregate information in a really intelligent way and try to deliver that as even keel as they can. And I really value their opinions. I'm implementing some parts of these ideas that I'm picking up from multiple people into my life, and this is one of them. Fasting is something I want to implement until I'm no longer around. So I don't intend to do the long fast, like I said, but I'd like to do like 5 or 7 days, like once a month. Maybe something a little longer occasionally, but for the most part, just 5 or 7 days, like once a month. I think it's doable. It's easy right now. I think the hardest part is the momentum change. Like going from, I knew I was going to try it again probably by mid-September. I started talking to a friend about coming up with some sort of challenge to start. I think he was starting something in October already. So I kind of like jumped on board with that, and we weren't doing the same thing, but I wanted to kind of like partner as far as time frame so that some of that motivation with an outside party would take place. But anyway, so I didn't end up starting then. So I put it off and I set January 1st, and that didn't really happen either. I was thinking about backing out, and then I was like, you know what, I'm not going to put it off again. I'm just going to start, even though it's not starting on January 1st or last food at the end of December, and then starting with no food for the beginning of the year. That would have been great, but I didn't do that. So I started, my last food was January 2nd, and basically I've gone with no food since then. Just consuming bone broth and the protein shake. So it's extremely easy once you transition. Now, I'll talk about one more thing. So having done the ketogenic diet many times over the past 3 to 5 years, I think I tried it I don't know, like with the pea strips, like even further back than that. But I made a legitimate try somewhere around 5 years ago, and then I started with the actual blood strips where you're pricking your finger, and I took it a little more serious about 3 years ago. And I've done like month spurts, 2 months, 3 months, and I don't think I've done anything longer than that. I usually do like quarters, things like that. But when you first try that diet, if you've always eaten a high carb diet, which I believe I'd be very confident to bet good money that 99.9% of us here in this country, in America, we eat a standard American diet, and it is heavy carbs. Very few people, outside of people that are trying keto, have ever experienced what it's like to come off of carbs completely. Maybe not completely, but you're minimizing it down to less than 40 grams in most cases, and then your body transitions from burning sugar to burning fat, and there is a transition there. It's not necessarily a comfortable thing. Now, I've done it multiple times, and it's gotten easier over time, but when you fast, you definitely experience that. So if you've never done keto and then you go straight into a fast, say you're going to do 3 days, it's not going to feel great. It really won't. I can't explain it. It's like, to put into words what the feelings are that you feel during it. There are multiple things going on. Sometimes I'm going without coffee, sometimes with. And if you're experiencing coffee withdrawals and you're withdrawing from, consuming sugar, that's a lot to go through. I believe I started one where I made it like 3 days, and I was so miserable that my wife was like, "You've got to stop this one." And so I did. And the next time I prepped a little bit better. I was in keto before the beginning. I had tapered off of coffee for like a month beforehand, and I was completely without coffee for at least 2 days before the beginning of the fast. So when I did start fasting, it was easy. It really was. It was just, okay, I'm not going to eat food. And there wasn't really any hunger pangs. There weren't none of the withdrawal symptoms at all. Now, this fast, I started last food January 2nd. I had just gone through Thanksgiving and Christmas and having kids and grandkids at the house, eating all kinds of like desserts and things were always around. So I wasn't being gluttonous, but I was not taking anything out of my diet on purpose. If it was there and I wanted a piece of pie with a scoop of ice cream, I was having it. I wasn't doing it 5 times a day or anything like that, but without exercise. So without any kind of walking, I have a fairly sedentary job, and without any calisthenic workouts until like a month beforehand. So after December got started, I started doing 1 workout session a day up until I think a couple of days after Christmas. And then I didn't do anything leading up to the beginning of this fast. I didn't want to be sore and maybe pull a muscle or something like that. So anyway, I'm rambling on a lot, but basically what I'm trying to say is, it seems like something like this is way outside the realm of possibility for most people. Mentally, there's like a barrier in front of people having to do with going without food for an extended period of time. I assure you, it is not as difficult as it seems to you after you've tried it a few times. I think you might think differently about fasting in general. I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything, especially not fasting. But I'm just talking in terms of, if you are interested in trying something like this and you're checking into this channel to see how things are. I'm just saying, for me, for what I'm doing, I just gave you examples of what I did to kind of prepare for long-term fasting. And those definitely make it easier. But even with this one, I ate high carbs all the way up to January 2nd. I went cold turkey right then and there, nothing but protein shake and bone broth, and that's it until now. And we are on day 43. I've already lost 32.7 pounds. Arguably, it would be less than that if I wasn't consuming the protein powder and doing the calisthenic workouts. Obviously, I am maintaining a bit more muscle mass, especially in my upper arms and my chest area. Those are the 2 most noticeable areas where I'm feeling it. And when I take my weekly measurements of certain body parts, those are actually much bigger than they were 6 weeks in last fast of last summer. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I've kind of rambled on long enough. I apologize. I do this. I don't mean to. I'm kind of like shooting these off the cuff, but I do appreciate you watching. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave those below. If you have a suggestion for what food I should eat to break the fast on day 64 in Hawaii, please leave those in the comment section as well. I do appreciate it. It would be nice if you give me a like, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot of interesting things to come, especially after this Fasted-Thenics series is over. So I appreciate it, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.